same time. After the user has chosen a photo by using the camera or from their photo library, you're going to get this delegate method, image picker controller did finish picking media with info. Okay? And you are then going to dismiss that view controller. Okay? So you have to manually dismiss it right here. But before you dismiss it, you're going to look into that dictionary that just passed, this info dictionary, and get the information about what camera, what picture they took or whatever. If they hit cancel in the camera, then you're just going to get this image picker controller did cancel. And then there's no info dictionary there, so you don't get to find anything about the photo. Again, if you're in a popover, you're going to use the popover did dismiss popover business. You'll do the same thing. So what's in that dictionary that you get back? So if the user did finish picking with the info, what's in it? There's the image that they took, both the edited image if they zoomed in and cropped it, and the original image if they didn't, whether they did or not, the original image is in there. If they cropped it, it'll tell you the rectangle inside the image that they cropped to. If it's a video, you're going to get a URL to a file with the video in there. Okay? So that's how video comes back to you, as a URL to some file. And you can, if you get these images and you want to save them, like in the user's photo library, that API is an AL assets library. I'm not going to cover that, but that's where the API is if you want to save it into their photo library, some picture they've taken. Like in Photomania, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to save it into our own database, but, and we're going to save the image into our documents directory, but we could put things in the photo library as well. The camera can have an overlay view on top of it. Okay, this is a view that sits on top of it. You can even provide your own buttons for like take picture and things like that. This is just a view, and you also are going to get this transform. See at the bottom there, camera view transform, in case you want the image that the person's taking, for example, to be scaled up to full screen, because the aspect ratio of the phone itself is not the same as the camera, so it won't be full screen. You'll see there'll be kind of some borders around it. Some people like to zoom it up to full screen. You could do the transform to do that. If in your overlay view you provide the take picture button, then you want to say show camera controls no. Otherwise you'll have the take picture button from iOS and also your own take picture button. Okay, so overlays, you can look those up offline as well. We're not going to do those in the demo. Let's go ahead and add this photo taking to Photomania. And this action sheet thing, we'll see how the time goes, whether we do the action sheet. All right, so here we are in Photomania. And if you remember here, let's go ahead and go over here and remind ourselves what it looks like right now. Flip this around. All right, so we have our photos here. We haven't taken any photos yet. Hopefully this is probably loading in the background as well. Yeah, there it is from Flickr. But if I look at my photos, I can see I don't have any, but I have the camera in the corner, so I'm going to press the camera. We put that photo in. So you notice it's saying Photomania would like to use your current location. Okay, and I'm going to say okay. If I said no, then it would probably, we would have to put up this fatal error that says you can't take a picture. And what we want to do here is you see the take photo button. I want to be able to press that take photo button and have this UI image picker controller come up. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. All right, so take photo, we actually wired that up when we very first started here. Where did we put it? It is right here. Okay, and it doesn't do anything right now. So what do we need to do here? All these things I just told you in this slide. So let's go UI image picker controller, UI image picker controller, UI image picker controller equals UI image picker controller, alloc init. So we just alloc init. There's no other things we specify when we initialize it. That's all we need to do. And then we just need to set up this UI image picker controller to specify any options we have. And we also need to set ourselves as the delegate. So I'm going to do that first. And you're going to say something interesting about this. So we know that as soon as we set ourselves as a delegate, we're going to get this warning that says we don't implement the UI picker controller delegate method. Notice it also says we don't implement the UI navigation controller delegate. Okay? this is kind of a weird thing about UI Image Picker Controller. It inherits from UI Navigation Controller, so it inherits that delegate method, and so it requires that you be a delegate for both. So I have to be Navigation Controller delegate, and I have to be the Image Picker Controller delegate. Now, neither of those things have any mandatory methods, so it's not that onerous, but this is just an error that a lot of people are like, huh, why is it saying that? Okay, it's just a weird thing about UI Image Picker Controller. You have to be a Navigation Controller delegate. You're not going to implement any of those methods. You just have to say you do implement that protocol. So now we're the delegate, and we're going to implement a couple of those methods in a minute. But first I'm going to finish configuring this thing. So what else am I going to do? Well, I'm going to say what media types I want. And the only media type I want is an image. I don't want video. So KUT type, what's it called? Image? Yeah. Okay, so this is an array, but the only one I'm putting in there is this one thing, and I'm doing this weird cast. Okay. And then what else do I want to set up here? I want to set up the source type, which is I want the camera. So this is Image Picker Controller source type camera. Now I could also say here vertical bar UI Image Picker source type photo library. Okay, on the iPhone this would be fine, where the UI would let me choose from either of these two places. I don't have anything in my photo library on my demo machine, so it's kind of a waste. And on the iPad, I would have to do two separate UIs, so I couldn't really do that there anyway. I'm also going to allow editing. Why not? Allows editing equals yes, so that allows me to crop and zoom in. Allows the user to crop and zoom in on the image. And that's it. And now I just do this present view controller. Okay. Animated, yes. Completion. This completion block, again, it would get called as soon as the view did appear happened. So in other words, once it was on screen, this would get called. I don't need to do anything then. So we're done. Okay? So this is going to cause a modal view controller to appear, and it take over the screen. It's going to be the camera, and the user's either going to have the option of using the photo they take or hitting cancel. So we have to handle both those cases. So let's do the cancel case first, because it's really easy. And we do that with this one right here. This is right here. Image Picker Controller did cancel. You can see there's only two methods here. There's an old deprecated one there, but there's only these two. Those are the two we're going to implement. So in cancel, our only responsibility is to dismiss this thing, okay? Because we're not going to use the photo or anything like that. So I'm going to say dismiss, yes, completion. Again, I don't need the completion handler there. Okay, so that's an easy one. And then the other one, this guy, this is the did finish picking media with info. So we've got this dictionary right here that provides the information about the photo that the user chose. So the user did choose a photo in this case. So this one's easy too. We're just going to say image equals info UI image picker controller edited image. Okay, so this is a key into this dictionary, right? And that's the edited image, the UI image the user edited. Now I'm also going to say if not image, then the image equals info UI image picker controller original image. Okay, why am I doing this? Because I allow editing right here. Okay, so I know I'm going to get this edited image. Well, someday I might turn this to no, and then my code here would break. So I'm just trying to make code here that would work in either case. It costs no skin off my nose to put this line of code in here, and it'll make it so if I ever change this to no, then this is going to still work. Okay, it doesn't hurt me if I don't. All right, so I got the image, so I'm just going to say self equals image. Remember that we have this property set that we implement the setter and getter for, which is right here, okay, which is just setting the image view's image, okay. If we're setting it to something new, then it's deleting the old URL. We showed that already today. So we set our image, and then we dismiss. Okay, and that's it. So using the camera, quite straightforward. Once you understand that you have to do this delegate thing to get the results out of there, it's pretty straightforward. So let's try and see if we can make this work. Here's something to take a picture of here. All right, so we'll go to My Photos. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to take a photo. we're going to get this image picker controller that's going to come up modally. So here's my picture controller. So 2002. That's kind of old, but take it. So I'm just going to take this picture. All right, that's a little blurry, so I'll take another one. That's a little better. And I could zoom in here if I want, crop it, because I've allowed user editing, right? So we can do that. And then once I got it the way I want, I hit Use Photo, and it comes back and sets in our image view. One thing we also need to do is put in the title there, but that's it. Let's do that real quick. Giants. All right. OK, there we go. So now, hopefully, our photo, there's our thumbnail. If we click, you can see the detail of it. OK? Any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward, the camera thing. All right, let's see what time we got. I'm going to come back to doing the action sheet at the end, because I really want to show you this other stuff first, the core motion stuff and action sheet. I think you mostly understand that, so we'll come back to this later. So let's go keynote here. All right, so core motion. So core motion is the API for accessing the hardware on your device that tells you about motion, okay? And there's a lot of different pieces of hardware, actually, that sense motion on your device, and some devices have more hardware than others, okay? So a lot of using core motion properly is kind of understanding what your device has and how you're going to use it, and if it doesn't have things, can you still do what you want to do, maybe not quite as nicely, et cetera. But the primary inputs to the motion of your device are the accelerometer, which is just telling you the acceleration of your device in X, Y, and Z. A gyro, which is letting the device know when it's being rotated, which is an important thing for it to know. And magnetometer, which is telling it where is true north. Okay? So really it knows where magnetic north is, but if it knows your GPS location, then it knows where true north is as well. So the class that you use to get this information about your device is called CM Motion Manager, kind of similar to this CL Location Manager, which is how we got where the device is on the world. And you create it just with alloc init. You have to be a little careful with this thing, because you can't really have two different places in your app alloc initting in one of these things and asking for different information rates or something like that, because the rate at which it's going to report its information really is something that your whole application needs to be on the same page about. Okay? So you wouldn't want one place in your application getting data really, really fast because it's doing some really fine-tuned thing, and another one wants it really slow, and then they're kind of out of sync. So some people would argue that CM Motion Manager should just be global. You should have some global somewhere, some class variable, or your app delegate or something. I don't know that that's strictly necessary to go that far, but it is something where they can fight each other, so you've got to be careful about doing that. And that's really just because there's only one device, and there's only one gyro and one accelerometer, and so it makes sense that this is a global resource in a sense. So how to use the Motion Manager? Just like with Location Manager, first you check to see what hardware is available. Then you kind of have two choices of how you want to do it. You can set some sampling going and then poll the Motion Manager. Okay? What's the current acceleration due to gravity in these three directions, for example? Polling we don't like. I have a slide on that, but you're going to see I'm going to blast right by it, because polling, not so good. As the second way, which is that you basically put a block on a queue that will get called every time at whatever rate you say to tell